Gonna build a mountain from a little hill.
Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady, and today it is time for another speed build video of Abuya Zoo. And in this episode, we are going to add one of my most favorite animals of the game next to the derpy bongo face, the naughty warthogs. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I highly recommend you to watch my franchise series, as these series definitely show you why I absolutely love these animals so much since the beginning when I actually got my hands on this game. So yeah, I always find these periods of time, like a few weeks before a new DLC drops, like a perfect time to add the maybe a bit less popular animals to my zoo. And unfortunately, I think this cute warthog is one of them, even though they are one of my favorite animals of the game. Not everyone agrees with me, I'm afraid. But do let me know in the comments down below if you do belong to the naughty warthog love team. So yeah, I tried to find a perfect spot for these lovely animals because I already had like an idea in my mind of like this sunken habitat with different height elevations and a little bridge for the guest going over the habitat. So other than you see a lot in real life zoos, this is probably the most interesting warthog habitat made so far for these warthogs, at least when it comes down to my YouTube channel at least. So since Abuya Zoo is so far all about African animals, also being an African zoo itself, it's not that hard to find a spot for these warthogs. I just needed enough space to work out my idea, I guess. So in front of the black and white rough lemur is probably the best place to add these animals, as the little bridge going over the habitat can be connected to the other side of the African penguin habitat. So first I dug out the terrain so I could add like a lowered path for the viewing gallery to the habitat, and after that I lowered more terrain which would be somewhat the area where the habitat should be and where I wanted the little bridge to be, and then I right away started to add the path just to make sure I had the basics of my habitat done before I actually started to fill it all in. So for the little bridge, I am using these short steps of the path tool, and I know in every video when I use these short paths, I get a few questions of people like, how do you do this? I don't have this in my game. So for everyone wondering, I would highly recommend you to watch my top 10 building tips and tricks video where I explain this path tool, and will probably also show you some other very useful building tips for Planet Zoo as well. So I will make sure to put the link to this video in the description of this video so you can easily find it. So in this habitat, I really wanted to make sure to use more of the bigger enrichment items, something I honestly always forget, or when I think about it, the habitat is almost finished and then I don't really find a suiting place for it anymore. Well, not this time. This time I will be building around these enrichment items because I just really love to use like this mud bath for these warthogs, as their animations in this mud bath are just too funny, to be honest. So the mud bath will be sunken a bit further into the ground, and we will be hiding the edges of it as if it's just like a lowered mud area in their habitat. So we will cover the edges of this area with lots of desert rugs in a later stage as well to make it all blend in nicely. And later in this video, I will also be adding like this forge feeder, I think it is called, like on the left side of the habitat. But before we do that, we will start working on the edges of this habitat. I got a bit of inspiration for this edge of our desert franchise series, if you have seen that one. Like with the horizontal rock placement, which just gives a nice little touch to your habitat edge, I guess. And like other than many habitats we make nowadays, this habitat actually has like zero inspiration of any real life zoo habitat because, as I said, like most realistic zoo habitats for warthogs are just pretty simple and plain for these animals, I guess. So I actually didn't even bother to look up any inspiration because I already had like this idea in my head, like what we are making right now. So yeah, I just really wanted to make something more interesting for these warthogs, to be honest. And hopefully you will all like it as much as I liked building this habitat. But okay, once I had like the first wall in place, I added like the edge of the mud bath. And for the backside of the habitat, I used more of the big tree trunks that we use in more habitats around this zoo. Like the more I use these trunks as like an edge of an habitat, the more I absolutely love it, really. But we do give like this edge a bit more variation. So like by adding some rocks here and there, I think that just works really well to make it look a little bit different, but still using these trunks as the edge of your habitat. Now, one thing I read about warthogs is that they are actually also very naughty in real life. Like, I was trying to figure out where warthogs actually sleep, and it turns out they simply just steal burrows made by other animals. So they can get shelter for the weather, sleep, and maybe even hide from predators in burrows not made by themselves. Like, seriously though, I mean, imagine being a cute artwork and you have been working days or maybe even weeks on a nice burrow to live in, and then all of a sudden a big naughty pumba comes in and stays the night without even asking, and then cherry on top, it will probably snore so loud that you, as this poor little aardvark, are not even able to sleep anymore in your own-made burrow because of this naughty warthog just coming in there without even asking. Okay, I'm making this part up, probably, like, I don't know if these things happen in real life, but it's just super funny to imagine something like this actually happening in real life. Like, you're just living there, and then a warthog comes in and just, with their loud noises, and you're just like, what the hell? I don't know. I find it just super funny. But now adding like these burrows that we have in the game for the aardvarks, for the warthogs in this habitat, unfortunately it doesn't really work. At least not yet. Like hopefully Frontier will be adding them in the future as well, so they can also use these not self-made burrows. But for now, for this habitat, I just built like more of a cave for them instead, which is a little bit lower into the ground. And I also did use some of the roots and stuff like to give it a little bit of the idea that this might be underground-ish. And then on the left side of the habitat, like next to this cave burrow or whatever you want to call it, is where we are going to add like these forage box feeder or whatever this is called. We will also raise the terrain on that one just so it looks like it's just normal ground, but the warthogs will actually be able to eat food there and also have like a reason to actually use this corner of the habitat. So the little bridge over the habitat will be pretty simple, decorated by just using some wooden beams on the edges and underneath it. And to give it more of a wooden look to the bridge, like we will be using these unpainted Asian planks on top of it. And we will also use like these logs for the bridge railings in the end. So it's just a cute, small, little wooden bridge, I guess. Now, actually, something I just realized is that I actually don't know if the keepers are able to reach the whole habitat. Looking at like the speed build video, seeing the height of the bridge, which works super well for the warthogs, I actually don't know if the keepers are able to go underneath there and fill the forage box feeder. Something I definitely need to check when I will be making the cinematic shots for this video, because else I might need to make the opening under the bridge a little bit higher. Although it would be very nice if the keeper would just be standing at the gate then and fill the feeder from a distance, just like they can now with like the underwater feeders and stuff. Like, oh well, let's just hope for the best, and let me see if I'm able to catch something in the cinematic shots for you all to give you an idea of if I did have to raise or lower the terrain or anything like that. Let's just wait and see about that. So for the fences around the path, I used the chain link fences as I really just love how they are looking. But for this habitat, I use a 2-meter wide chain link fence instead of the 4-meter wide ones, which I normally use for like a lot of the habitats I make so far in Planet Zoo, just to get a little bit more variation in here, I guess. And the pillars of these fences will later be covered with just a climbing frame beams to make it look a little bit different as well. So when it was time to decorate the habitat with the usual little aquatic rocks, some trees, shrubs, and plants, I also made like this little dirty water section on the right side of the habitat, as the warthogs, of course, also need a little place to kind of clean themselves from this mud pool. Like, I don't know if warthogs really want to do that, but if they want to clean themselves, they can go to this dirty little pool, and they will also have this sprinkler enrichment item there to clean themselves as well if they want to. Many animals in this game, when they become dirty from the mud pool, they go into the water to clean themselves or use the sprinkler. So I'm not really sure if these warthogs will actually do that, but if they want to, they can actually clean them. But other than that, we use some like African grass and stuff to make the area in the habitat a little bit more dense and natural looking and more green, I guess. Like nothing really special, but definitely gives that extra a little touch to the habitat. And also using some African logs here and there for this more natural vibe to it. So yeah, warthogs are maybe not that much of a popular animal in the game, even though I hope that one day I can maybe make them popular. But I still absolutely love these animals. And hopefully I'm not the only one. Do let me know in the comments down below if you are also part of the Naughty Warthog Lovers Club. And of course, let me know what you all think of this habitat that we built for them. Leave a like in the video if you all enjoyed and if this video inspires you for your own builds. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And yeah, I just really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys!